Today, we re-enter the desperate world of medieval England. A country in turmoil, a time of swords and axes. Whether it be debasing themselves in petty squabbles or engaging in all-out siege warfare, the lords and ladies were doing anything they could to vie for land, titles, or gold as they desired. Last time we were here, we learned of the hideous lineage that is the Duc family. And if you missed that entry in the series, make sure you consult its contents before diving into this one. But for today, we shall learn of Duc Beauregard, otherwise contemptuously and rightfully known as the Snake. Whilst a smaller character within the annals of Stronghold, they still played a key role in the unfolding of events, both of tragic sorrow and righteous victory.
It's over, my friend. Let's face it, you've lost.
Greetings, sire. Your stronghold awaits you. Wood needed, my lord.
At the prelude to the invasion of England, the Snake was a well-established duke within some of the richest provinces in France. The Snake loved nothing more than material wealth, opulent clothes, and expansive profit margins, even if these came at the cost of his relationships, estates, and welfare. As a duke, he was charged with upkeep and defence of his lands. However, his obsessive and erratic behaviour led his estates to become lightly fortified and ill-equipped. His green-eyed obsession with wealth was made evident in his appearance. His hair was slicked and trimmed, his linen jacket lined and cuffed with fine patterns, and massive jewelled necklaces hung from his neck. But, being one of the oldest of the lords and ladies of Stronghold, his grey hairs betrayed his attempts to look youthful. As we will see, it was these deluded compulsions in search of trinkets and treasure which were to be his undoing. Despite his wisdom, cunning and wit, he would find himself brought low by his hunt for luxury. In our previous chapter, we saw how the capture of the king led to England being invaded. Whilst this provided Duc de Beauregard with an opportunity to prove himself, which he gladly took, the Snake was sent unwillingly. He was found to be under-declaring taxes to the royal treasury of his homeland, apparently his avarice too compelling to ignore. His punishment? The challenging task of establishing the new colonies, along with the other dukes. Whilst many suspect he was sent to England as a convenient and perhaps lethal punishment for his crimes as duke, sending someone so underhanded and conniving to a bountiful new land was surely a naive gambit. The Snake used his crafty, two-faced nature to his advantage. He established himself as a figurehead, a talented mouthpiece to the iron grip held over England by Duke Volpe, otherwise known as the Wolf. He would orchestrate the key incident which would set the story of Stronghold in motion. Before the events of Stronghold, where the dukes divided up the English hills and estates, there were, of course, small pockets of defiance. Battles fought and swords clashed. It was during one of these initial skirmishes that the Snake fought none other than the boy's father. During the encounter, the Snake lost his eye. Upon his embarrassing defeat and subsequent retreat, he cursed the boy's father, swearing bloody vengeance on their entire family. The remaining English nobles, the boy's father among them, led a resistance force against their new occupiers. As a solution to the bloodshed, a meeting was arranged to discuss the possibility of peace to temper aggressions on both sides. But this was merely a ploy. Its architect? The Snake. As the English nobility travelled to attend this meeting, they were ambushed. An unknown group of malicious bandits overwhelmed them, leaving many of the most renowned nobles dead.
Am I victorious? Oh yes, I am!
Whilst the boy's rise to prominence would become the stuff of legend, even the snake deserves a footnote in this tale. For without his ploys and deceptions, as seemingly despicable as they were, the boy would never have succeeded. The snake took his manipulative trickery to a new level during the boy's rebellion, and this is where the dubious friendship between the rat and the snake would come into play. As we discussed in the last chapter, the rat was very much on the front lines of battle with the boy, the pathetic pawn who gave confidence to this new young military leader in his search for vengeance. The rat lost battle after battle and eventually turned to the snake for help, and the snake sensed a golden opportunity.
But they're only a stone's throw away from here. I have to do something.
Simply send a small siege force to sever their source of escape.
That's easy for you to say.
Relax. By the time we return from our hunting trip, the problem will have resolved itself. Trust me.
The snake, whilst on the surface aiding the rat, secretly contacted Sir Longarm to establish a trade deal.
There is no time to raise an army, but Duc Beauregard will send a large force to help us in return for a shipment of ale. Once the rat's siege force is defeated, Beauregard has agreed to let us take the rat's neighbouring county without resistance.
Given all we have heard about the snake, it should come as no surprise that his ultimate goal was to snatch every piece of land that the rat had taken thus far and claim it for himself. What we can assume here is that the snake, with all these new claimed lands, wealth, and troops, thought he could provide the staunch defense required against the boy, but it was not to be. And it is here we see the almost inevitable downfall of the snake, as his greed was once again to be his folly. First in France, expelled in shame to the front lines of the new frontier, and now in England, beaten back again and again by the very military campaign he funded. In the quest for immeasurable wealth, he paid for his own execution. And so ends another chapter in the story of Stronghold. If you haven't seen the previous entry in this series, which turned the spotlight to the nefarious Duc Beauregard, otherwise known as the Rat, please check the link in the description of this video. To be the first to see the future episodes in this series concerning the pig and the wolf, please be sure to subscribe to the channel and click the notification bell.